Why don't we have our own nation? Why don't we have our own country? Well, it's very simple. The people that are supposed to be leading you to form this country, this nation, have made it very, very difficult for you even to want to have a nation. The reason we don't have a nation is not because the people don't want it, because we've conducted many, many polls and everybody said, yeah, we should have our own nation. So clearly the problem is not the people, then why don't we have a nation? The reason we don't have a nation is not because of the population of people that want to have a nation. The problem is the leadership. What do I mean by leadership? Well, in many cases, you go back as far as the 1930s and 40s, the leaders were saying, how you form a nation? We have to ask the government. Wow, okay. When was the last time you heard any leader go to Washington, D.C. and talk to the government and say, hey, we want to have our own nation? It's never happened. So we're talking about almost 100 years ago, and they're still saying we got to ask the government. But here's their version of how you ask the government. They're sitting somewhere in California having a speech and just speaking on speaker. Oh, Washington owes us states. Give us land. Give us states. I'm sure all of you have heard that. So why don't we have a nation? Because they're communicating poorly. They don't even go to Washington, D.C. because of fear. They don't have that discussion in Washington, D.C. So what does that mean? People still want a nation, but the leaders are scared to talk to the people in Washington, D.C., knocking on their doors. They'd rather go to Chicago, New York, wherever, but they don't want to go directly to the actual source of it, saying we need to have a nation. We got to go to Washington, D.C. They're talking to the government, but they never talk to the government. So they sit on their chairs and complain, and then the people say, wow, it must really be hard to get a nation. The great leader can't get us to get a nation, so it must really, really be hard. No, it's not hard. The leader is not a leader. He may be a leader, but not a leader to form a country. Now, you also hear things that people will tell you. It's really hard to get a nation because we have to go to outside of our country to get a nation. What do they mean? Let's go to the United Nations to talk to all the countries in the world and have them help us get a nation. The people who don't live in this country have people from different countries to go to the United Nations and tell America, give black people their own nation. Well, how was that going to go? These people don't even live in America. So why would America want to listen to them about giving us a nation? Right. That's what the leaders teach. They make it so difficult that it's almost impossible to get a nation because they are terrible in forming a country. They're not the leaders that we need to help us get a country. These leaders make it so difficult. And then you run into other leaders that will tell you, yeah, we're going to form a government right now. We're going to put it on paper. Has no recognition. Say, yeah, we are a country. It says it right here. We wrote it down. We signed on it, but nobody recognizes it. Wow. They have zero authority. They actually have elections that with no authority. And then you wonder why it's so hard to get a nation. And they have many reasons why they don't do this. The reasons is because we can't trust them. We don't believe in them. There are enemies, all kind of reasons, but none of them ever comes to the conclusion of having our own country. If you've been doing this for 100 years, you've been doing this for 50, 60, 70 years, and you're not getting the results, why do you continue repeating the same problem? So, my name is Joe Lazu. I have a plan. How to get ourselves a country. How do we develop our own nation? It's very simple. It's not complicated. Has nothing to do with everything that you've been taught for the past 100 years. All of it has failed. There's a movement called the Mahali Movement. That's the name of this movement because the nation of our people will have the name Mahali, not made by me or anyone who's alive today. That was the name that was actually applied in 1660 by our people that believe what we believe today, and they were the first ones to believe it. That's right, Mahali, which means in Kiswahili, promised land. How do we get this nation? Simple. Number one, you gotta join kczin.com. That is the media outlet that's propelling this movement of independence. I created this media outlet because through this media outlet, we are going to show people, just by not just talking about it and educating them, but by action, how we get this nation established. It's not that complicated. All it takes ultimately is for us to vote. We vote, we get a nation. I'm simplifying it, but that is the goal. You don't have to protest, you don't have to march. None of those things are required. You don't have to go to Washington, D.C. You don't have to do any of those things at all. You can start your own nation in a very simple way. Come learn about this. Become a subscriber, a monthly subscriber, or annual subscriber, and you will be informed of the process, and you're going to see the actions that is going to take place. We're starting in 2023 already. We're running candidates for office so that we don't have to ask the government to give us anything. We become the government and give ourselves everything. Mahali Party is the party that's behind that whole process. Again, keyword Mahali, Promised Land, Party. Yes, we are connected. We're forming our own country. KCZIN is the media outlet that I created so we can all be in one and forming our country. 2023 is the beginning of the year of that process. We're getting people elected into office in 2023 at the highest level as governor. That's right, governor. You don't have to ask, beg, protest, march. You are the government by being the governor who conducts the authority over an entire state. That's how you form a country. Come and join us. First, go to kczin.com, become a supporter for monthly or annual, and then join the Mahali Party at Mahali Party's website and become a registered member to vote for their candidates so they can get elected and we can get our nation started. Remember, Mahali Party, KCZIN, all spells Mahali, the nation, the independent nation of our people, that we can get started almost immediately, beginning in 2023, starting now.